The last thing we'll need to do for this project is to create the NC file. Before I create the NC file, I'll come over to the toolpath manager. I'm going to toggle off the visibility of the stock models. I currently only have the wireframe visible on my screen. I'm going to select the entire toolpath group. Toolpath group 1, I click on it, and everything within that toolpath group becomes selected. From here, I'm going to select the G1 icon. I'm going to create the NC file and the NCI file. Select both those items, select OK. And it's asking me where I want to save the NCI file. So I'll navigate to the project folder. And I'll call this Drill Project 1 NCI, save it. And now it's going to bring up the dialog box to save the NC file. I'll navigate to the same location, the working folder. And then I'll save this file with the same file name. Once you save the NC file, Mastercam is going to open up the Code Expert. This will be our NC file editor. And here we have the NC program that we're going to send to the machine. Now, this particular program was written for a Fidel Format 1 machine. And you can look through the G code real quick and just see what's going on. It's putting tool 1 in the spindle. Because it's a 4-axis mill, it's zeroing out the A-axis. Here we're turning on the spindle clockwise, and we're rapiding to the XY coordinate for fixture offset 1 or E1. Once it's positioned at the XY coordinate for hole 1, it makes its descent in Z. It's calling out height offset 1. It's wrapping 2 inches above the top of the part, and coolant is being turned on. It continues on to Z.1. This will be our R plane or our retract plane. And then it activates the common drilling cycle. It's going to drill to a depth of Z minus 0.1005. It's going to create that pilot equal to 0.201 in diameter. It's going to feed at 7.33 inches per minute. Once it gets to the specified depth, it's going to fast rapid to our retract plane at 0.1. And then it's going to wait for more information from us. That information will be XY coordinates for the following hole locations. So it's going to keep repeating what it's told to do in the drilling cycle at all of these locations. When it gets to the last hole, it's going to turn off the drilling cycle with the G80. It's going to rapid back up to 2 inches above the top of the part. On this line, we're turning off the spindle and turning off the coolant. It's going to home out or zero out the work offsets, or I'm sorry, zero out the length offsets. There's going to be an optional stop, M1. And the next item will be placing tool 2 in the spindle. It's going to, once it places tool 2 in the spindle, it's going to turn the spindle on. And it's going to fast rapid to the XY coordinate for our first hole. It's going to use fixture offset E1. Here it's making its initial descent. It's calling height offset 2. It's rapiding 2 inches above the top of the part, and it's turning the coolant on. From here, it's going to continue on the Z.1. This will be our retract plane. And then it's going to go into the pectoral cycle. It's going to drill to a depth of Z minus 0.2784 in increments of 0.0603. Once it gets to the specified Z depth, it's going to fast rapid back up to our clearance plane and then wait for more information. That information will be the XY coordinates for the following holes. So here, it's rapiding to these locations and then repeating what it's instructed to do inside the drilling cycle. After it completes the last hole, it turns off the drilling cycle with the G80. It rapids back up to 2 inches. It turns the spindle off. It turns the coolant off. It homes out the Z-axis and zeroes out the length offsets. And here we're clearing the work offset and we're homing the X and the Y axes. The M2 is turning the or ending the program and resetting. So this is a program that we need to send out to the machine. I can minimize this. I'll save my work one more time. And that completes this project.